My daughter, whom I had always indulged, was boasting about a lavish getaway to California costing over $25,000, using my cards without asking. I smiled outwardly, but fury simmered within me. So, I waited patiently until they departed. Then, I revoked every card, every booking, every arrangement. They arrived in a remote spot, and I rested soundly that night. When I awoke, I had 18 missed calls, and that was merely the start. Before we proceed, please subscribe to the channel and share where you are tuning in from in the comments. And the executive suite features this stunning panoramic balcony overlooking the secluded coastline. Dad, you can actually spot seals from the master bedroom. I set down my coffee and reclined in my leather armchair, observing the evening sunlight pour through my study windows. Sophia's voice sparkled over the phone with that lively enthusiasm I had cherished for years. Yet something seemed amiss. That sounds wonderful. Darling, which hotel did you select the Beachside Elite in Malibu? It is utterly ideal. They offer this aerial excursion that flies you above the coastal cliffs. And tomorrow evening, we are eating at their gourmet eatery. The chef studied in London. My pen drummed against the oak desk. Malibu is gorgeous. I recall you expressing a desire to go there. I hesitated, allowing the quiet to linger just sufficiently. How much is this all amounting to for you and Lucas? The briefest delay? Oh, we have been setting aside funds. Lucas received that incentive from his retail position, and I have been saving from my occasional shifts at the shop. I sat up straighter. Lucas's retail work was 4 hours weekly at a mall store, and Sophia's shop duties scarcely funded her latte routine. That is admirable that you both have been so diligent with your money. Yes. Well, we truly wish to mark something memorable for our milestone. Your milestone is not until November. Sophia. Another longer pause this time. I meant our relationship milestone from our initial meeting. I accessed my schedule, already anticipating what I would discover. That was in March. Dad, you are acting so odd about this. Can I not simply be thrilled about my trip without the interrogation? The guarded tone in her voice struck me like an icy surge. This was my daughter, my precious girl, who once nestled in my lap, begging for bedtime tales. But the person on the call was different entirely. Of course you can, darling. I am just amazed at how much you have accumulated. An executive suite at the Beachside Elite, aerial excursions, gourmet dining. That must be nearing $25,000 for the week. It is not that expensive. Dad, goodness, you make it seem like we are squandering our entire nest egg. I am not judging. Sophia, I am pleased you are handling finances wisely. Look, I must go prepare. We are heading to the airport shortly. Enjoy a fantastic time, darling. Send me photos. The connection ended, and I gazed at my device. 28 years of parenting. And I had mastered reading my daughter's emotions like seasonal shifts. The uneasy chuckle when she referenced Lucas's incentive. The stumble over the milestone detail. The swift shifts whenever I probed about funds. I placed the phone aside and launched my computer. My fingers paused above the keys momentarily before I entered my bank's site. The access page emerged, and I inputted my details with increasing assurance about what awaited. The evening shadows extended across my study floor as I remained there, fixated on the display. 25,000. The precise figure I had cited, almost as though I had sensed it throughout. My young lady was taking from me without permission. 4 days later, I was in my study with a mug of coffee cooling nearby. The dawn glow was gentler now, and I had been examining financial records for most of an hour. What began as standard money review had evolved into something deeper. There it was, marked in bright yellow. Delta Airlines, 2,800. The The timing aligned flawlessly with Sophia's travel reveal. Below it, Beachside Elite Resort, $14,200. Hertz Rent-A-Car, $1,050. Horizon Aerial Tours, $1,400. Sunset Fine Dining, $900. I grabbed my calculator, although I already knew the sum. $22,500, near enough to my $25,000 guess to constrict my chest. Each expense showed on my visa statement, the card I had provided Sophia for urgent situations 4 years prior. The card she vowed to handle maturely. The card whose reports I had ceased reviewing because I believed in her. My device vibrated with a message from Sophia. Having the most incredible experience. The suite is breathtaking. I captured the screen, then accessed my directory and called her. It rang 5 times before she picked up. Hey, Dad, what is going on? Hello, darling. So, how is California treating you? Oh my goodness, it is heaven. We just returned from the aerial tour, and tonight we are heading to that eatery I described. Lucas is capturing images of it all. That is terrific. I am so happy you two are having fun. I navigated to the following financial report, spotting extra costs I had overlooked. Sophia, I must inquire about something. Sure. What is it? Are you utilizing my credit card for this journey? The quiet extended for precisely 5 seconds. I tracked them. What no? Dad, absolutely not. I explained we saved for this. Are you certain because I am viewing my visa report, and there are fees from your hotel, your flights, even the aerial tour you just noted? That is impossible. Perhaps someone pilfered your card details. You ought to contact the bank immediately. Her tone carried that same prepared quality I had encountered from associates concealing errors. Polished, worried, and totally invented. I am sure that is the issue, I replied, maintaining an even voice. I will reach out to them now. Thank you for assuring me it was not you. Of course, Dad. I would never do such a thing. You know I would request if I required assistance with anything. I know you would, darling. Savor the remainder of your trip. Thanks. Dad. Love you. Love you, too. I disconnected and stared at the device. She had deceived me directly, without pause, not merely avoided or evaded. She had crafted a detailed tale about card theft and voiced authentic-seeming worry for my monetary safety. I reclined in my seat and shut my eyes. The child who once admitted to shattering vases before I even spotted the harm had just executed theft and fabricated about it with expert proficiency. When had I turned into such a simple target in my own daughter's view that night? I was in my library, encircled by picture collections I had not touched in ages. The deep red leather bindings felt known under my touch as I leafed through years of family recollections. Here was Sophia at 6, missing teeth and beaming next to her first bike, a blue fairy design that had demanded 3 weeks' payback then. She had glimpsed it in the shop display and proclaimed it the loveliest item ever. I had taken extra shifts for 2 months to purchase it. I flipped the page. Sophia at 17. Standing beside her initial vehicle, not the dependable Toyota I proposed, but the Mercedes coupe she pleaded for. All the kids at school drive fancy cars. Dad, I will be so humiliated. The vehicle had cost $42,000. She had wrecked it 7 months afterward. Another leaf. Sophia's university commencement. Her grin brilliant in robe and mortarboard. 5 years at Harvard University. Complete fees. Housing and meals. $200,000. She had switched fields 4 times and finished with a qualification in literature she had never applied. I shut the collection and grasped another. This one was compact, less structured. Images of Benjamin, my other offspring. Though one would not guess from his upbringing. Here he was at his secondary school ceremony, laboring part-time at a supermarket to accumulate for junior college. His auto was a 16-year-old Ford Focus he acquired with his own earnings and serviced personally. The difference was striking. Benjamin had sought my aid precisely 4 times in his grown life, once for a modest advance when his vehicle required fixes, funds he returned in 3 months, once for assistance with a rental deposit on his debut apartment, again, reimbursed swiftly. The 4th occasion was 2 years ago when he inquired if I could contribute to his marriage costs. Not insisted, not presumed, inquired. And when I proposed to cover the whole event, he demanded to split it evenly himself. I launched my computer and accessed the monetary logs I had been assembling. The figures were astonishing. Sophia's university schooling, $200,000. Vehicles, $80,000 across the years. Rental deposits and lease support, $40,000. Credit payments I had handled for her, $30,000. The safety net I had created for her 26th birthday, $60,000, which she depleted in 20 months. Total $400,000, excluding the innumerable minor sums, meals, retail outings, wellness days, trips I had funded without hesitation. Benjamin's total $9,500, every cent restored with extra. I stepped away from my workstation and approached the window. The area was serene, lampposts projecting extended shades over tidy yards. This residence, this existence I had constructed, it was all intended for them, for my kids, to offer them chances I never possessed. Instead, I had fostered a problem. The picture collection still rested open on my workstation, displaying 2 roots splitting from identical origins. One child had grasped the importance of diligence and independence. The other had grasped that father would perpetually resolve the chaos. I sealed the collections and arranged them orderly on the rack. Tomorrow, Sophia would come back from her illicit getaway, anticipating all to persist as usual. She had likely begun scheming her next monetary plea, but something had altered within me over these recent days. The pain lingered, but it was solidifying into something firmer, more intentional. My daughter required to comprehend that behaviors carry repercussions, that taking from kin, from anybody, was unacceptable, and I was going to instruct her. The following night, I positioned myself in my family room with my computer active and device nearby. Sophia's social feed displayed her at the terminal, glowing in the boarding area illumination. Finally in the air. California. We are arriving. Fortunate existence. Their executive suite. Embracing my finest life. I updated the page periodically, monitoring her updates. The plane cabin. Lucas creating silly expressions in premium seats, a bubbly cheers to the greatest milestone ever with a label that tensed my jaw. Daddy's princess. At 11:52 p.m., her update showed a fuzzy image of lights beneath, somewhere above the Pacific. Eager for our suite. I delayed another 40 minutes, then accessed my device contacts and contacted the Beachside Elite Resort. Beachside Elite. This is Daniel speaking. How may I assist? Good evening. Daniels. I need to annul a booking. Executive suite arriving tomorrow under Sophia Hayes. I would be glad to aid you. Sir, may I obtain the verification code? I recited it from my financial report. The booking was placed with my credit card without approval. I am revoking it right away. I comprehend, sir. I locate the booking here. Regrettably, the executive suite enforces a firm 96-hour revocation rule. The complete sum is non-returnable now. That is acceptable. Please continue with the revocation. Certainly. Sir, the booking is revoked. The card owner should get a verification message soon. Next, I reached Hertz Rent-A-Car, identical account, identical courteous service. The premium sedan Sophia had secured was no longer accessible. Yes. There would be a revocation charge. Yes. I acknowledged and consented. Horizon Aerial Tours was subsequent. I apologize, sir, but we can provide a fractional return since you are revoking within 36 hours of the planned flight. You will get roughly 50% back. That is fine. Please advance. Each contact mirrored the same. Courteous clarifications, expert empathy, methodical dismantling of my daughter's intricate vacation schemes. The sunset fine dining, the exclusive shore pavilion lease, the offshore angling expedition, one after another. They disappeared. My device hummed with verification messages. Revoked, revoked, revoked. The ultimate action was the most gratifying. I entered my Visa profile and moved to the approved user area. Sophia Hayes. Eliminate user. The system inquired if I was confident. I selected a firm with greater contentment than I had sensed in ages. By 3:15 a.m. It was complete. Every opulent amenity, every enhancement, every extravagance had been methodically erased. Sophia would touch down in Los Angeles tomorrow, dawn, to discover herself with no lodging, no conveyance, and no means to afford substitutes. I served myself a tumbler of bourbon and settled back in my seat. My device was quiet now, but I knew that would alter shortly. Very shortly. I retired that evening with a tranquility I had not felt in ages. Fairness was not always rapid, but when it arrived, it was comprehensive. My device started vibrating at 6:40 a.m. The identifier displayed Sophia's number. I permitted it to ring. It was only the commencement. I rose naturally at 8, extending in the dawn rays that sifted through my chamber drapes. The slumber had been profound and without visions, the sort of repose that stems from a pure mind and a task accomplished well. My device rested on the bedside table, its display dim and calm. I shuffled to the kitchen, initiated the brewer, and drew the shades to admit the full splendor of the morning. Songbirds twittered in the maple outside my pane. The journal lay creased on my entry step. It was not until I retrieved the paper that I observed my device screen alight with alerts. 18 missed calls, all from Sophia. The initial arrived at 6:40 a.m., the latest at 8:12 a.m. Mere moments passed. I brewed my coffee and savored a gradual sip before grasping the device. It promptly began ringing in my grip. "Morning, darling. You are awake early. Dad?" Her tone was wary, exploring. "Were you experiencing issues with your credit card yesterday?" "Issues?" "No." "Why do you inquire? I attempted to... when we registered at the hotel, there appeared to be some sort of problem with the booking system. The reception mentioned something regarding payment troubles." I strolled to my kitchen pane and surveyed my neighbor's yard. "That is peculiar. My card has been functioning normally. Let me verify it presently." I feigned searching for my billfold, though I already knew precisely what I would encounter. "Nope. All appears standard. Perhaps I should trial it to confirm." "Hold on. Dad, you do not need to..." No, this is alarming. If there is deceit on my account, I must know instantly." I drove to the cash machine 3 blocks distant, proceeding leisurely. When I came back 20 minutes afterward, I redialed her. "All fine on my side. Darling, the card operates flawlessly. Maybe it was merely a system error at your hotel." "Quiet then." "Yeah, perhaps." I completed my coffee and prepared some eggs, murmuring gently to myself. The device rang anew at 9:45. This time her tone was altered. Shriller, tense. "Dad, something is seriously amiss. The hotel states our booking was revoked last night. They are claiming someone contacted and annulled everything. That is awful. Did they indicate who contacted?" "They said it was the card owner. But that is impossible because we covered everything ourselves. Recall, I placed down my utensil and reclined in my seat." "Of course, I recall." "Sophia, you informed me you and Lucas had accumulated for this journey." "We did. So why would the hotel assume the card owner revoked? It makes no sense. I have no clue. Darling, where are you residing now? Some dreadful inn by the freeway. Dad, this location is revolting. The cooling scarcely functions, and there are marks on the flooring that I do not even wish to contemplate. I am so regretful this occurred to you both. The rental vehicle was revoked, too, and the aerial tour and our supper bookings, everything simply evaporated. I emitted compassionate sounds while inwardly admiring the effectiveness of the prior night's efforts. Dad. Her tone lowered to a murmur. You did not. You would not have. Would not have what? Sophia. Nothing. Forget it. But I could detect it in her tone. The initial hints of doubt germinating. She was beginning to assemble the fragments. Actually, Dad, I need to pose something straightforwardly. Of course, darling. Pose anything. Did you revoke our bookings? The inquiry suspended between us like a blade poised to descend. I placed my coffee vessel down deliberately, pondering my reply. The moment for diversions had elapsed. Yes, I did. The quiet extended for precisely 8 seconds. I tracked them. What do you imply? Yes. I imply, yes. Sophia, I revoked every booking, every flight, every amenity you reserved with my pilfered credit card. Pilfered, Dad. I did not pilfer anything. I just loaned $22,500. My tone stayed utterly steady. Delta Airlines, April 17th. Beachside Elite Resort, April 17th. Hertz Rent-A-Car, April 18th. Should I persist, Dad? You do not comprehend. It was merely temporary. I plan to reimburse you. With what funds? Sophia. Your occasional shop position that compensates $10 hourly. Lucas's 4-hour weekly mall roll. We have reserves. No, you do not. You have my funds that you seized without requesting. That is termed theft. Her respiration became uneven. Fine. So, I utilized your card. So, what you are, my father. It is not as if I am some outsider. Being my daughter does not grant you the privilege to take from me. I was not taking. Goodness, you are being so exaggerated. It is family funds anyway. Right, I mean, yet, what is yours is mine, ultimately. So what is the major issue if I access some now? The nonchalant entitlement in her tone impacted me like a tangible strike. Ultimately, Sophia, you are not entitled to anything I have gained. Come on, Dad, do not be this way. You have always assisted me previously. This is just larger. How much larger? Sophia. What do you mean? This is not the initial occasion, is it? The quiet revealed everything I required to know. Sophia. How much larger? I do not know what you are discussing. Try again. Dad, you are frightening me. Why are you acting this way? Because my daughter is a taker, and I am just now realizing how severe it has become. Do not label me that. Then disclose the truth. How long have you been accessing my card without approval? It is not. I mean, it was just minor items occasionally. Meals out or when I needed fuel, or how long? Sophia, perhaps a few months. But Dad, it was never anything substantial. Just when I needed support. And I knew you would approve anyway. If I asked. A few months. My hand started to tremble with restrained anger. So, rather than requesting your father for aid like a typical individual, you chose to take from me for months. I am going to return it all. With what funds I will secure a superior position. I will labor extra hours. You will what you cannot even maintain the occasional position you possess now. That is not just you wish to discuss just? My tone was elevating now, and I did not mind. Just would have been requesting for aid. Just would have been honoring the man who nurtured you, nourished you, attired you, and funded your whole being for 28 years. You are being dreadful. I am being truthful. And evidently, that is something you are not accustomed to hearing. The connection terminated. I gazed at my device for an instant, then proceeded straight to my machine. If she had been taking for a few months, I needed to ascertain precisely how much harm we were addressing. I accessed my visa profile and commenced scrolling rearward through the reports. March, February, January. There. Bistro in Chicago. 412. I remembered inquiring about her weekend in the metropolis. She had stated her companion had covered supper. December. Macy's 1020. The retail excursion for career meeting attire that her reserves had handled. November. Ritz-Carlton, New York, 560. The ladies' evening wellness weekend that had been such a bargain. October. Gucci, 1400. The handbag that had been a present from Lucas. The amounts ascended steadily as I delved further. Eateries, retail, lodgings, accessories shops, aesthetic procedures, all billed to my card, all rationalized with intricate deceptions. I seized my calculator and started summing. The getaway was merely the surface. Total unsanctioned fees over 7 months. 28,000. Almost 29,000 taken gradually. While she gazed me in the eyes and deceived, I reclined in my seat, fixated on the display. My daughter had not merely violated my faith. She had been methodically plundering me for over half a year while feigning appreciation for my backing. The device in my grasp felt weightier than it ought. I required fresh air, distance, something besides financial reports and computations, and the escalating awareness that I had nurtured a wrongdoer. I shifted to the family room and sank into my leather lounger. The identical seat where I had narrated Sophia bedtime tales 21 years prior. My device rested beside me, and nearly unconsciously I launched the social app. The program opened to an alert. Sophia Hayes updated their feed. Interest prevailed over me. I selected the alert. The display filled with unsteady footage of what resembled a roadway inn. Sophia's voice described over visuals of flaking wall covering and a blinking washroom bulb. So, this is where my father has compelled me to reside on what was meant to be my ideal getaway. The lens swept across moisture blemishes on the roof, courtesy of his domineering, scheming conduct. This is my situation now, I observed in escalating dismay as she persisted the overview. The worn rug, the faulty cooling device, the vista of a lot brimming with cargo vehicles. The footage concluded, but additional feed icons emerged. I selected the subsequent, a snapshot of her visage, makeup smeared, eyes crimson from weeping. The description read, "When your own father undermines your joy because he cannot tolerate seeing you thrive, harmful guardians, monetary mistreatment." I almost released the device. Another feed. A lengthy text entry over a dark backdrop. Maturing with a father who employs money to dominate every facet of your existence, who vows affection but provides stipulations, who cannot endure his children self-reliant or content. Wound discussion. Inherited wound. Self-centered guardians. The responses were already flooding in. Girl, sever ties fully. You merit far superior than this. Harmful guardians never alter. Cease contact. Pursue legal action for sentimental harms. I continued navigating, witnessing my daughter methodically ruin my standing in real time. Feed after feed, each one depicting me as a mistreating, dominating beast who had devastated her life from resentment. The concluding feed was a direct footage addressed to the lens. To all inquiring what transpired, my father has perpetually been this way, and, growing up, he would pledge items and then withdraw them if I did not act precisely as he desired. Nothing was ever without conditions with him. And now, as a grown-up, he is still attempting to dominate me by revoking my getaway that I labored so diligently to fund. She labored so diligently to fund with my pilfered funds. He cannot accept that I am self-reliant now, that I no longer require him. So, he resolved to penalize me by contacting my hotel and pretending there were issues with settlement. He wrecked everything from sheer spite. Self-reliant. The woman who had taken nearly $29,000 from me was labeling herself self-reliant. I am disclosing this because I know others have guardians like this. And I want you to realize you are not isolated. Sometimes the individuals who are supposed to cherish us without conditions are the ones who injure us the most. The footage ended with her brushing away a droplet and gazing straight into the lens with injured, courageous eyes. I shut the app and placed the device down with quivering hands. In the course of 4 hours, my daughter had taken from me, deceived me, openly shamed me, and depicted herself as a sufferer of my mistreatment. She had transformed a straightforward instance of theft and repercussions into a digital crusade aimed to demolish my standing and gather compassion for herself. The responses were still arriving. Thousands now. From unknowns who knew zilch about the circumstance except Sophia's account. Unknowns who were now persuaded I was a beast. I surveyed my family room at the kin snapshots distributed across the shelf. Sophia at her secondary school ceremony. Sophia at her university commencement. Sophia's celebration gatherings, holiday dawns, kin outings, all financed by the man she was now terming mistreating online. The identical man who had just uncovered she had been plundering him for 7 months. If Sophia desired to portray me as the antagonist, she was about to discover what that truly resembled. I grasped my device and contacted my attorney's firm, Thompson and Partners. This is Sarah. Sarah, this is Jonathan Hayes. I require an urgent meeting with Robert first thing tomorrow. Of course. Mr. Hayes, may I inquire what this concerns? I glanced at the snapshot on my shelf. Sophia's Sweet 17 gathering, where she had embraced me and murmured that I was the greatest dad ever. Safety net adjustments, I stated, and estate alterations. The next dawn, I was in Robert Thompson's firm at precisely 9 a.m. Attired in my finest professional attire and carrying a leather case packed with printed financial reports. Robert had been my counsel for 16 years, managing everything from commercial agreements to my separation. He was one of the few individuals I trusted utterly. Jonathan. He rose and clasped my hand, his demeanor grave. Sarah mentioned this was pressing. What can I do? I opened my case and positioned the financial reports on his walnut desk. I need to alter a safety net and adjust my estate plan. Robert settled back, his digits interlaced. All right. Which safety net are we addressing? The one I set up for Sophia's 31st birthday. $250,000 presently scheduled to mature next year. I recollect that safety net. What sort of alterations are you contemplating? I pushed the financial reports across the desk. I want her eliminated as recipient completely. The funds should transfer to Benjamin instead. Robert lifted the documents and reviewed them swiftly, his brows elevating as he absorbed the emphasized fees. These are all unsanctioned. Every one. 7 months of methodical taking culminating in a $22,000 getaway she embarked on without my awareness or consent. Have you conversed this with her? Yesterday she confessed to it, defended it by claiming it was kin funds anyway, and then devoted the night demolishing my standing on digital platforms. I retrieved my device and displayed him captures of Sophia's social feeds. She is depicting me as a mistreating guardian for daring to revoke the getaway she acquired with my pilfered funds. Robert perused the entries, his expression becoming more somber with each capture. This is rather comprehensive. She is truly dedicated to this story. Dedicated enough that I have resolved she needs to grasp genuine repercussions. I want her fully excised from my estate plan as well. Robert placed down the device and inclined forward. Jonathan, I must inquire. Are you positive about this? These are lasting modifications we are discussing. Kin bonds can mend, but legal papers are tougher to reverse. She took nearly $29,000 from me. Robert. Then she deceived about it. Then she openly charged me with mistreatment for halting her from taking more. At what juncture do I cease facilitating her conduct and commence safeguarding myself? I grasp your fury. This is not fury. This is equity. I extracted another paper from my case. I have also gathered a roster of prior advances and presents over the past 6 years. 400,000? Robert? Not encompassing her schooling? Robert emitted a low whistle. That is a considerable sum. She has never restored a single cent. Never even proposed to. And now I learn she has been taking atop all the funds I have willingly provided her. I reclined in my seat. She has clarified that she views me as nothing beyond a cash dispenser, so I am eliminating her entry to that dispenser eternally. Robert was silent for an extended moment, examining the papers. What about efforts at kin mediation? Kin counseling. You cannot mediate with someone who believes entitled to take from you. And you certainly cannot trust them with a $250,000 legacy. What does your son think about all this? Benjamin does not know yet. I intend to contact him this afternoon. I straightened in my seat. Benjamin has never requested anything he did not vitally require, and he has always restored every cent I have advanced him with extra. He merits to gain from my diligence, not the daughter who has been methodically plundering me. Robert nodded gradually. All right, if you are positive this is what you desire, I can prepare the alterations. The safety net change will demand a 45-day delay and alert to all existing recipients. The estate alterations can be implemented instantly. How long before everything activates? 8 weeks for the safety net modifications to be lawfully enforceable. The estate changes are active as soon as you endorse them, and she will be alerted. She will obtain formal notice of the safety net changes. Yes, it is mandated by regulation. I grinned for the first time in weeks. Ideal. I want her to know precisely what her decisions have cost her. Robert began retrieving forms from his storage. I will need you to initial various changes and supply refreshed recipient details for Benjamin. Are you ready to accomplish this today? I have been ready since yesterday dawn. 3 hours later. I exited Thompson & Partners with a substantial folder of legal papers and a deep sense of fulfillment. Sophia's safety net, the backup I had formed to assist her launch her adult existence, was now allocated for Benjamin, who had genuinely merited it through years of regard and accountability. My estate plan no longer included her name anywhere. I sat in my vehicle in the parking structure, clutching the papers that would transform everything. In 8 weeks, Sophia would receive a formal legal alert that she had been disinherited. She would discover that her choices had repercussions that stretched far beyond a revoked getaway. She desired to be self-reliant. She was about to receive her desire. I retrieved my device and navigated to Benjamin's contact. It was time to inform him that his honesty and nature had finally been compensated. The signal light provided me time to dial. I sat in my vehicle with the legal papers scattered across the adjacent seat, observing other motorists hurry through their Thursday afternoon patterns. Benjamin responded on the 3rd ring. Hey, Dad? What is happening? Hello, son. I have some vital news to convey to you. Are you someplace you can converse? Sure, I am just concluding lunch at work. Is everything all right? I maneuvered into my driveway and deactivated the motor. I need to inform you about some alterations I have made to my estate plan and to Sophia's safety net. Quiet. Then, Dad. What is occurring? Benjamin, I am shifting Sophia's $250,000 safety net to you, and I have excised her from my estate plan entirely. Why would you, Dad? What transpired? I collected the papers and entered my residence. Settling into my study seat. Sophia has been taking from me for months. Nearly $29,000 in unsanctioned fees on my credit card. That cannot be accurate. Sophia would not. She confessed it. Benjamin, I have all the proof right here. I accessed the financial reports on my machine. Would you like me to review the fees with you? Yes. I need to grasp what you are stating. I recited through the roster systematically. The eateries, the retail excesses, the lodgings, the getaway, each fee with its date and sum. Benjamin grew more silent with each entry. And when you challenged her about this, she said it was kin funds anyway, and that she was just loaning. Then she spent yesterday updating on social about what a mistreating, dominating father I am. Benjamin was quiet for an extended moment. Dad, when was the last time you spoke to Sophia? I mean, really spoke to her? Before this week. Probably 3 months ago. She contacted inquiring about refinancing her vehicle loan. Yeah, we do not really converse anymore either. Not since she wed Lucas. He hesitated. She has changed considerably. Dad, she used to be different. I know she was. But individuals become who they elect to become. Benjamin. And she has elected to become someone who takes from kin and then portrays the sufferer when there are repercussions. This safety net matter. Dad, I do not feel correct about accepting funds that was intended for her. Benjamin, you have never requested anything you did not absolutely require. You have restored every cent I have ever advanced you with extra. You labor 70 hours weekly to sustain your kin and still find time to assist your neighbors. I reclined in my seat. Sophia labors 20 hours weekly and believes I owe her a lavish way of life. Which one of my children merits to inherit the fruits of my labor when you express it that way? I am not penalizing Sophia from resentment. I am compensating you for being the individual I nurtured you to be. There is a distinction. What occurs now? Does she know about this? Yet she will receive legal alert when she returns from her illicit getaway. I anticipate that discussion will be disagreeable. Dad, be cautious. Lucas has a temper when he does not get his way. I am not fearful of Lucas. I know you are not. But perhaps you should be ready for them to respond poorly. I glanced at the papers spread across my workstation. Legal evidence that I had selected nature over lineage, honesty over kin duty. They can respond however they desire. Benjamin. But they cannot take from me any more. And they cannot manipulate me into facilitating their conduct. Are you certain about this? Truly certain I have never been more assured of anything in my existence? We conversed for another 15 minutes about practical particulars, about the legal schedule, about his own kin's reaction to the unforeseen fortune. When we disconnected, I sat in my study encircled by the proof of my daughter's disloyalty and my son's merit. Tomorrow, I would dispatch copies of the safety net alteration to Sophia. By the time she obtained them, there would be no reversal. But that was the essence. 3 days afterward, I drove to Sophia's residence building and inserted a plain envelope into her postbox. The papers inside would communicate louder than any dialogue we might have. Legal phrasing had a method of slicing through deception and reaching straight to the reality. I drove home and awaited. The call arrived at 3:12 p.m. The ensuing Wednesday. What on earth is this? Sophia's tone was quaking with wrath before I had even greeted. Legal papers. I presume you have perused them. You cannot do this. You cannot just seize my funds. Your funds, Sophia. You just spent the prior week vacationing on my pilfered funds, and now you are charging me with theft. That safety net was mine. You vowed it to me. I vowed it to the daughter I believed I was nurturing. That individual does not appear to exist anymore. Dad, you must reverse this. Please. You do not comprehend. Lucas has already formulated plans for that funds. We were going to purchase a home. Begin a kin. Plans formulated with pilfered funds tend to collapse. The connection went silent, except for subdued dialogue in the backdrop. Lucas's tone growing louder. We are coming over, Sophia stated. We need to discuss this in person. No, we do not. Yes, we do. We will be there in 30 minutes. The connection terminated. I sat in my family room and awaited, though I did not have to await long. 25 minutes later, my front entrance rattled under forceful knocking. "Open up, Jonathan." Lucas's tone penetrated the timber. "We need to converse." I opened the entrance to find them both positioned on my veranda. Sophia's face mottled from weeping. Lucas's hands balled into fists. This is madness. Lucas shoved past me into my family room. "You cannot just remove funds that is not yours. Lucas, this is my residence. You do not get to intrude here and issue commands. That safety net belongs to Sophia. No, it belonged to the individual I thought Sophia was. It turns out I was erroneous about her nature." Sophia sank onto my sofa. The legal papers wrinkled in her grasp. "Dad, please, I am regretful about the credit card matter. I will reimburse you. With what funds I will obtain a superior position. I will labor more hours. I will do whatever you desire. What I desire is a daughter who does not take from me and then deceive about it." Lucas advanced closer, his tone dropping to a menacing murmur. "You are going to rectify this, old man. You are going to contact your attorney and undo whatever you have executed. Or what? Or you are going to discover what happens when you interfere with the wrong individuals." I retrieved my device. "Are you menacing me in my own residence?" Lucas. "I am informing you how matters are going to proceed. Mr. Hayes, my neighbor, Mrs. Wilkins, materialized in my still-ajar doorway." "Is everything okay?" I heard shouting. The existence of an observer altered the space immediately. Lucas retreated, his hostile stance shifting to something more acceptable socially. Sophia dried her eyes and attempted to collect herself. "Everything is fine. Mrs. Wilkins, just a kin discussion that became a bit intense." She glanced between Lucas's flushed face and Sophia's tear-marked appearance. "If you are certain, we were just departing." Sophia rose, directing me a gaze filled with pure malice. "Were we not?" Lucas stared at me for an extended moment, his jaw operating silently. "This is not concluded." "Yes, it is. I maintained my tone steady and composed. And if you menace me again, I will summon the authorities. Is that clear?" They departed without further utterance, Lucas's shoulder intentionally colliding with mine as he passed. I observed through my pain as they disputed in their vehicle before departing. Mrs. Wilkins remained in my doorway. "Jonathan, are you certain you are okay? That young man appeared very irate. Kin issues. Margaret, nothing I cannot manage. If you need anything, thank you. I value the worry." She departed, and I secured the entrance, engaging the lock for the first time in ages. My hands were quivering slightly, not from dread, but from excitement. Lucas had just menaced me before a witness. Sophia had insisted I reverse legal rulings made by counsel and supported by months of proof. They had both behaved as if taking $29,000 was a trivial miscommunication that could be resolved with regrets and vows. I proceeded to my kitchen and served myself a glass of water, surveying the calm street where ordinary kin resided ordinary existences. Somewhere out there, Sophia and Lucas were scheming their next action, but I had already executed mine. Margaret lingered on my veranda, her silver eyes brimming with concern. "Are you positive everything is all right, Jonathan?" That was quite a commotion. Just some disagreements about monetary matters. Nothing that cannot be settled through appropriate means. She nodded, though her expression stayed troubled. "Well, you know where to locate me if you need anything. George and I are always home in the evenings." After she departed, I found myself standing solitary in my family room. the resonance of elevated tones still suspended in the atmosphere. The residence felt vaster somehow, more vacant. For the first time since this entire trial commenced, uncertainty crept in around the borders. Had I been too severe? Was there validity in Sophia's tears and her vows to alter? She was still my daughter. Still the young girl who used to craft me Father's Day greetings with marker sketches of us clasping hands. I spent the subsequent 4 days in a peculiar sort of suspension, proceeding through my customary patterns while replaying the confrontation. The recollection of Lucas's menace disturbed me less than the image of Sophia's face when she had perused the legal papers. Raw urgency. Total astonishment. Perhaps I should have attempted kin counseling first. Perhaps I should have granted her an opportunity to reimburse me before engaging attorneys. On Saturday morning, my uncertainties solidified into action. I was reaching for my device to contact Robert Thompson about possibly reversing some of the legal alterations. When my doorbell chimed, a young courier in uniform stood on my veranda with a notepad and official envelope. Jonathan Hayes. That is me. Please endorse here. You are being presented with legal documents. I endorsed automatically and accepted the envelope, my gut sinking even before I unsealed it. Inside was a formal legal action filed by Sophia Hayes against Jonathan Hayes, alleging mental mistreatment, monetary control, and deliberate causation of emotional anguish. I perused the document gradually, my incredulity expanding with each section. According to her grievance, I had methodically regulated and manipulated her through fiscal pressure. The safety net she had never merited was described as assured recompense for years of sentimental mistreatment. My revocation of her illicit getaway was characterized as vindictive sabotage designed to inflict maximum mental damage. She was requesting $300,000 in reparations. The legal action painted a portrait of me as a beast who had mentally tormented my daughter for years, using funds as a tool to sustain dominance over her existence. Every limit I had ever established, every repercussion I had ever applied was reframed as proof of mistreatment. Reading her version of our bond was like peering into a distorted mirror where every standard parental exchange was twisted into something ominous. I placed the papers aside and approached my storage cabinet, extracting the folder I had assembled of financial reports, annulled payments, and monetary logs. 28 years of sustaining her schooling, her way of life, her errors, hundreds of thousands of dollars willingly provided. No attachments. The contrast was stark. Here was proof of benevolence spanning decades. And there was her legal assertion that I had been fiscally abusive. I contacted Robert Thompson. Jonathan, I was anticipating your call. I assume you have been presented. How did you know? Because this is precisely what transpires when entitled individuals confront real repercussions for the first time. They assault. His tone was composed. Expert. How are you managing honestly? I was beginning to question myself before this reached. Now I am recalling why I executed these alterations initially. Good. Because this legal action is going to be simple to protect. You have proof of voluntary fiscal backing extending years, clear evidence of unsanctioned use of your credit cards, and observer testimony about their menacing conduct. What about her assertions of mental mistreatment, Jonathan? Establishing limits with a grown child is not mistreatment. Declining to enable theft is not control. We will present the realities and let them communicate themselves. We conversed for another 30 minutes about legal approach and schedule. When I disconnected, I felt more stable, more assured of my path. I spread the legal action papers across my dining surface next to my own proof. The evidence was overpowering. Every accusation Sophia had made against my nature was contradicted by decades of verification showing precisely the contrary. But as I arranged my protection materials, something unforeseen occurred. Instead of the anger I had anticipated to feel, a peculiar sense of tranquility settled over me. My daughter had just demonstrated in legal documents submitted with the judicial system that she was exactly who I had thought she had become. Someone who would deceive, control, and demolish kin relationships rather than accept accountability for her choices. The uncertainty vanished. This legal action was not an assault on my nature. It was confirmation of every decision I had made. I was still arranging papers when my device hummed with a text from an unfamiliar number. I almost disregarded it. But something prompted me to open it. The message was lengthier than my display could show at once. Dad, this is Sophia. I obtained a new number. I know you probably do not wish to hear from me presently, but I need to convey something vital. I dropped the legal action this morning. I am not contesting you anymore. I scrolled down, reading the remainder of her message with expanding astonishment. I have had considerable time to reflect over the past 3 months. Lucas and I parted 4 weeks ago. He was the one urging the legal action. Said we could force you to compensate for disrespecting us. But sitting in that attorney's firm, listening to him discuss demolishing you in court, I realized I did not recognize myself anymore. I did take from you. There is no other term for it. I seized your faith and your funds and then behaved like you owed me even more. I persuaded myself I merited it because we are kin. But that is not how kin operates, is it? You nurtured me better than this. I remember being proud of having a dad who labored so diligently, who constructed something from nothing. Somewhere along the path, I started viewing your achievement as something I was entitled to, instead of something I should strive to gain myself. I am not requesting you to pardon me right now. I am not requesting for funds or for you to reverse the safety net. I just wanted you to know that I finally comprehend what you were attempting to instruct me. Behaviors have repercussions. Regard has to be gained. Kin does not mean you get a free pass to injure people. I am securing my own residence, laboring full-time at the shop, and attempting to determine who I want to be without Lucas's sway or your backup. It is frightening. But perhaps that is what I required. I love you, Dad. I hope someday you can love me again, too. Sophia. I read the message 4 times, searching for indications of control or concealed motives. The tone was dissimilar from anything she had composed to me in years. No commands, no defenses, no efforts to diminish her conduct. Could individuals really transform this drastically? Or was this just a more refined manipulation? I placed my device down and approached my kitchen pane. Surveying the garden I had been overlooking since this entire trial began. The tulips needed trimming. The grass needed care. Existence had persisted advancing while I had been concentrated on legal conflicts and kin disloyalty. 3 months of silence. 3 months for both of us to process what had transpired. To exist with the repercussions of our choices. Perhaps that is what we had both required. My device sat on the counter, awaiting a reply. I could message back immediately. Commence the gradual process of reconstructing faith. Or I could delay. Let more time elapse. See if this apparent transformation was authentic or fleeting. I thought about the Benjamin I had nurtured, the son who never needed drastic repercussions because he had learned accountability early. I thought about the Sophia I had nurtured, the daughter who had somehow strayed, but might be rediscovering her path. The evening light was diminishing, casting extended shadows across my kitchen floor. I picked up my device and reread her message one more time, then placed it back down without replying. Some matters could not be hastened. Faith, once shattered, required time and consistent behavior to reconstruct. If Sophia was truly altering, she would comprehend that. If she was not, she would expose herself by insisting on immediate pardon. For now, the silence would persist. Not from harshness, but from insight gained through experience. I had spent 28 years facilitating her errors by making pardon too simple, repercussions too mild. If she desired a bond with her father, she would have to demonstrate she was worthy of one. Time would reveal which daughter I would be dealing with. The one who took from me, or the one who had composed this message until I knew for certain the entrance would remain ajar. But the safety net would stay exactly where it was. If you enjoyed this tale, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more captivating stories. Share your thoughts and impressions in the comments below. What did you think of Sophia's journey toward change? Or perhaps you have your own experiences with family challenges. Drop your questions there, and let's discuss them together. Your interactions keep this community vibrant and engaging. For the next intriguing story, simply click on the box to the left. Thank you so much for watching. We truly appreciate your time and support.